their microphones if everybody wants to put their, yes, Mr. Phillips. Oh, you're waving. Here, I'll fade you over. You now are on camera if you like to wave. So we are. Um, so we are streaming just on YouTube at this point. Okay, we're moving along. Safety engineering, Mr. Tapman, do you have anything this evening?
I have nothing to report for utilities or engineering, either one, President Arnold.
Thank you. Safety services, Ms. Gillum is not here this evening. Does anybody have anything to report for her this evening? She does have one item, which is the VOCA and the SVAA for the municipal court. Does
She asked
anybody?
that I read this for her. An ordinance extending the Chiillicothe Municipal Court Victim Witness Assistance Program, accepting grant monies received through the Victims of Crime Act and the State Victims Assistance Act, increasing the city's matching funds commitment and declaring an emergency. And at the appropriate time, I'll ask to waive the 3-read rule. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Nickerson. City service and transit. Courtney or Ms. Lewis, do you have anything this evening?
Thank you, President Arnold. City Services has no items on the agenda this evening and nothing to report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lewis. And back to Mr. Tapman for utilities. Do you have anything to report this evening, Mr. Tapman?
No, President Arnold, I do not have anything to report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tapman. For those of you that are just getting into watching us on any of the streams, we had issue connecting to begin with. We have not been able to get onto Facebook, but we are on YouTube currently, and we have just had the opening of our meeting and our committee reports. At this time, we do have audience participation. Oh, I'm sorry, going on to our reports for our officials. Yeah. Reports from our mayor, Mr. Feeney. that guy over there. Mr. Feeney, it's all yours.
Thank you, President Arnold. I have limited comments on tonight's agenda, just some basics in front of you. I will thank Auditor Spetnagel for getting these financial policies procedures in front of you. This was a project that I wanted to tackle when I was auditor, and that was more than 6 years ago. It's an excellent base for city operations, and some of the things we do in the city are so outdated that coming up with appropriate policies and procedures is a bit of a challenge. So kudos to her and her staff for getting that information in front of you. And some other thank yous. Earlier this month, on November 11th, we had a fantastic Veterans Day. I want to thank everybody who was involved. Melody, who's with us tonight, the folks involved with the Purple Heart City dedication, the new monument at our Veterans Park, all the veterans who were involved, Pickaway Ross, who really made the park look nice, Parks and Recreation Department. Incredible turnout, beautiful day, and one that I think was memorable for the whole city. Local veteran Ben Daughters gave a nice speech, and it was a touching day. The events that I attended that day were, I think, appropriate for the care and honor that I think is present for Chiillicothe, the way we feel about veterans here, particularly with the presence of the VA and the high number of veterans that we have. So thank you to everybody involved that day. And then this past Friday, what's quickly becoming the city's signature event, the Light the Park, sort of welcome to the Christmas season downtown. Incredible turnout, really incredible showing with the lights and the people, and again, beautiful weather. Thank you for everybody who's involved in raising the money and getting the people downtown, all the store owners, everybody who's contributed to make downtown a success year round, but really something that the whole community, I think, is becoming attached to, and I think is spreading beyond the city. And with my final announcement, I finally get to announce a project that I've been working on for a while that I'm pretty excited about. On December 18th, at the Shoemaker Center this year, we will be welcoming the Columbus Symphony for a Holiday Pops Spectacular. The event will actually start at 4 o'clock with our Chiillicothe High School Orchestra doing a pre-performance presentation, and we'll transition into the symphony at 5 o'clock. Tickets will go on sale tomorrow, and we have been very fortunate for the Chiillicothe Ross Community Foundation to come through to make this event possible in funding and in organization. Lots of help, lots of people pulling together. Thank you to the Symphony for wanting to do this outreach. But really an exciting thing, kind of on the heels of last year's Night of Unity. We're really hopeful that this becomes an annual event. All the proceeds that come back then will go to support fine arts in the community. And so just a neat thing to share. There'll be sing-alongs in the symphony, something I'm really looking forward to this year and finally get to announce. So that's December 18th. Tickets go on sale tomorrow. You can find them on the Convention and Visitors Bureau website. You'll find a link on the city Facebook page and website. And we really suggest pre-sale buying ahead of time. We think that tickets will likely go fast. There will be table sponsorship opportunities, but just exciting and excited to announce that tonight. And a week before Christmas, it should be something special. That's all I have tonight.
That's fantastic to hear about the symphony. That's great. Thank you, Mr. Feeney. Moving on to our auditor, Mrs. Spetnagel.
So I have one item on the agenda tonight, and it is financial policies. Before this meeting, we held a committee meeting to talk about those policies. The goal is to fill this book with policies. We've got the first 5 in here. Those are the ones that are most important at this time. The most important one is the fixed assets, and that is to increase the fixed asset value from $500 to $5,000. Because as you know, $500 is not very much money, and right now we're currently tagging everything at $100, so we're tagging everything that we buy almost. So that's the main change there. And then we got cash management, a credit card policy, which the city currently does not have any credit cards, but we are required by law to have a policy in place. We would like to eventually get possibly one credit card just to pay for travel and some small things. That would require the mayor to appoint somebody to manage that credit card. Public records, and then a budget adjustment policy. So I passed those policies out. They were attached to the committee request. So you'll have some time to go through those and let me know if you have any questions. And then next year we'll be bringing a few more policies. So that concludes my report.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Spetnagel. And our law director, Ms. Villarreal. Thank you, Ms. Villarreal. And myself, President of Council, I do have one thing I'd like to bring up. We seem to have a very busy schedule with different pieces of legislation that are coming up over the next month, and to try to wrap things up by the end of the year. Where normal meetings are going to be on the 13th and the 27th. I'd like for either the mayor or 3 council members can the mayor or 3 council members can call a special meeting. And I think it would be prudent for us to have a special meeting on the 20th. So if everybody in council here, the council members are entertaining to this, I'd like a motion for us to call a special meeting on the 20th. We will have, before the meeting, have to list out what we're calling the special meeting for. But we do have several pieces of legislation that will probably, we can announce that at the next meeting as to what we'll be going over at the special meeting. Do I have a motion by Ms. Nickerson and second by Mr. Phillips? Roll call on the motion for us to have a special meeting on December the 20th at regular hours. I think 7 o'clock would be okay. Roll call on that motion, please.
Phillips,
Yes.
Nickerson, Tatman, Lewis, Farrow,
Yes.
Corcoran, and Prohl.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The motion has passed. We will have a special meeting on the 20th, and prior next meeting will be more set as far as what the special meetings will be dealing with. So now, not jumping the gun, we'll move on to audience participation. Council Rule 21 does limit each speaker to a 5-minute presentation and a total limitation of 15 minutes per subject. When you get close to having 1 minute remaining, I will try to get your attention so you'll have some ample time to summarize your presentation. Anyone wishes to speak can do so. We just need your name and your address, if you would, please. And
Melody Lapsinski, 355 Brennan Road, Chiillicothe, Ohio, 45601. I wanted to first of all thank all of you for all of the work that you did with the Purple Heart, your attendance at it. It was a really, really lovely thing, and I really, really appreciate everything that you did with all of your support. I can't begin to tell you how much that means. So that's the one thing. Thank you very much, and I'm here to ask a favor. So the other topic. And one other thing, there are Purple Heart signs that I just gave to Mr. Carmen. He's got them over in the office building over there, so that hopefully they'll be going up pretty soon. You'll be seeing signs on the road, which will be a very nice thing. So then the other topic. I was told that there was a study that was done somewhere around early this year about all of the city buildings, feasibility, cost, potential uses. Yeah, okay. Is it possible for an individual to get a copy of that? Okay. The reason I'm asking is because I've been toying with another little idea, and I wanted to talk to the council as a whole as to thoughts or comments or concerns. But when we were doing the Purple Heart dedication, you're sitting there looking at it and you're sitting there thinking, okay, this Veterans Park, Memorial Park, is city. Attached to that is 150 Park Street, which is the water, what are they calling it? A water shop, I think is what they call it. And I had been told probably almost a year ago now that the everything that was in that building was going to move to the Pepsi building after it was purchased. And then it got really cold. The Pepsi building was used as a homeless shelter at night so people would have some place to sleep. I'm assuming that that's going to happen again this year, but I don't know that. But I am looking at another option for that building if in fact it does end up going over to everything in it, going over to the Pepsi building. You have the Veterans Memorial Park. You've got that building, it's got a lot of parking, it's in a very straight line avenue, and it would be an absolutely beautiful place to put a military museum. I know that that conversation has come up before as opposed to the armory, and for various reasons, it did not fly. However, it seems like a very natural use for that building if, in fact, everything moves over to the Pepsi building. I have not yet talked to the Veterans Council because they don't meet until the 14th, although I have talked to a couple of people on the council. I have talked to a local attorney just to say, hey, if this were to happen, what would we need to do to set up a not-for-profit entity to go into this? Unofficially, I've talked to a couple of people over at the Historical Society, and it would probably not be beyond possibility that we would be able to get items on loan that they now have in storage for that museum. And I think it would be an absolutely lovely use for that building. I think that's it, other than I'd really like to know if you have any plans for that building other than just housing the water shop. Okay. I'm sorry? Okay. 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 Well, I'm putting it out there, so maybe something will be able to materialize with this. Thank you very much for your time.
Actually, you thanked us, but thank you for the work that you did with the Purple Heart, because you worked endlessly on it. So you did a great job. So thank you. Yeah. Anybody else to speak? No. We'll move on to old business. Does anybody have any old business this evening? No. Petitions and correspondence received by the clerk. Ms. Fleckner, have you got anything?
No, we haven't received anything since the last meeting.
Okay. New business. Does anybody have anything new they'd like to bring up this evening? Okay. I didn't hear anybody mention that they were holding any committee meetings at this point, so I don't have any committee meetings or other meetings to announce. We'd have got a few committee assignments since our last meeting. I'll kind of run down what we have. We've had 5. A request for legislation to update the city's financial policies, and that's actually on tonight's agenda. A request for discussion and possible legislation to adjust the rate of pay for elected officials. And we actually had a committee meeting on that prior to tonight. Mr. Pearl mentioned that. And that is going to have more discussion. Request for legislation to accept the VOCA and SVAA grants and appropriate matching funds to participate in the programs. And that is also on our agenda tonight. And a request for the legislation excuse me, to establish the City of Chiillicothe operating budget for 2022, and figures will be forthcoming on that. And also a request for legislation to update the rate of pay and other benefits of classified, non-classified, and management level employees of Chiillicothe, and that just came out today. And that's been our new assignments that we've had. So with that, we'll move on, and we will move to our legislation. So whenever you're ready, Ms. Fleckner, item number 1, please.
First reading of an ordinance accepting and appropriating a $200 donation from Anytime Fitness to the Chiillicothe Fire Department and declaring an emergency.
Okay, that'll move on to the next read. Item number 2, please.
First reading of an ordinance extending the Chiillicothe Municipal Court Victim Witness Assistance Program, accepting grant monies received through the Victims of Crime Act and the State Victims Assistance Act, increasing the city's matching funds commitment, and declaring an emergency.
This time, I'd like to ask to waive the 3-read rule.
We have a motion to waive the 3-read rule. Roll call on that motion. Oh, seconded by Ms. Corcoran. Roll call on that motion.
Phillips,
Yes.
Nickerson, Tatman, Lewis,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Corcoran, and Prohl.
Motion has passed. Roll call on the legislation.
Phillips,
Yes.
Nickerson, Tatman, Lewis,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Corcoran, and Prohl.
And that ordinance has passed. Item number 3, please.
First reading of a resolution approving updates to the city's financial policies and procedures.
And that, again, we'll move on to the next meeting and another read. Does anybody have anything they would like to add this evening? If not, this concludes our business. Do I have a motion for adjournment? By Mrs. Lewis, seconded by Ms. Nickerson. Roll call on the motion to adjourn.
Phillips,
Yes.
Nickerson, Tatman, Lewis, Farrow,
Yes.
Corcoran, and Prohl.
And we have concluded our business till we all meet again.